Welcome back to Lucore Automotive. It is a cool, wet fall day, and today we're on our way back to CIA Performance, in which you could probably hear running behind me Momma's Mopar. So what we're after today is going to be seeing what this thing has done with the upgrades that we've done to it. Since it was run on the dyno last, which you can see now. So what we're really looking for here is to see how much of any improvement we've seen from the upgrade in the intake, the carburetor, the fuel delivery system, a lot of things that you've seen in a previous episode, at least hopefully. We want to see in actual raw numbers, real numbers, what those upgrades got us. This is still the old tired motor. It's still an old tired 400 with exhaust leaks. We're just seeing what these legitimate numbers really get us before we tear it apart again. So for those of you who are new to this project, I am in a 1973 Dodge Charger SE. This is also known as Momma's Mopar. It is Katrina Bell's little project car. Well, it's not little by any means. It is powered by a 400 cubic inch big block V8. For those of you who don't know the 400, it's not very well known. This is the last generation, essentially, of the 383 that Mopar built for forever. It's just basically a slightly bored out version of a 383. It was designed and run in the smog era when power was not so much of an issue, but fuel prices were. Traction is a bit of an issue. So she bought this car back in summer of last year. And we have progressively been working with her to improve the vehicle, improve the dependability and reliability, as well as the power to delivery of this vehicle. Last year, she got into drag racing for the very first time, which is really cool to see a lady out on the track getting some drag racing in. And she took to it really, really well. So we have been assisting in getting this thing a little bit more track friendly. I mentioned at the beginning of this video that this is still running on the tired 400. The reason I say that is there is a 451 cubic inch stroker motor that is being built and hopefully finished here very shortly to replace this 400 that's sitting in here. Now the 451 is actually a pretty interesting idea. You typically take the guts out of a 440 and shove them into a 400. The nice thing with a 400 is it's physically a smaller footprint, so it's actually able to be worked on a little bit easier than a 440 is. The cylinder walls on a 400 are actually extremely tall, similar literally in size to what everybody looks for out of the tall deck Chevys. So you can get a considerable amount of stroke out of a 400 without much effort. Realistically speaking, you could take a 400 all the way up to almost 500 cubic inches. That motor is over at Performance Research. It should be done here shortly. And that motor will then go in this car. And then we've got a couple of other upgrades we're going to need to do to handle the new power that's going to be in that one. But in the meantime, we were trying to get as much out of this vehicle as possible, to learn as much about this platform as possible, because we've never built a third gen B-Series Dodge before. So this is kind of new for all of us. So we've been using this to iron out a lot of the issues and a lot of the kinks and learn a few things with this particular platform. And in this case, we're going to see what all of the maintenance items that we did get us in performance. Well, we survived the journey over to CIA Performance, and it is still a gray, rainy, crappy Ohio day. Eric is here, somewhere in the background. Where's Eric? There's Eric. And we're going to get this big boat loaded up on the dyno and see what happens. No big promises. It's not going to be amazing. But as Eric and I talked about in previous videos, one of the nice things with having the access to the dyno is we can diagnose issues.
Yes.
This is not necessarily just to put it on the dyno and see
How much power we get out of it.
right. This is a dyno issue. This is an issue with this car that we cannot figure out, that we need their help for and their dyno for. So this is actually going to be a working.
Unless we want to stick Austin in the engine bay and drive down the street with a timing light.
We could do that.
That would be cute. Can we miniaturize you real quick?
We have considered just about everything to try to figure out this little stumble. So this is going to be an actual working dyno. I don't know how much of that we're going to put in the video because it's not real exciting to watch that. But yeah, so we're going to get this thing on the dyno and we'll start from there. So this is the exciting part of dyno tuning. And this is truly where this tool comes in handy. So what we've been experiencing is a breakup under load and on quick load. So when you'd stab the throttle, it would get all kinds of angry and then it would take off. And sometimes when you would run it at partial throttle, it would be angry. And we can't tell, because of the fact that we don't have fuel pressure gauges and all kinds of things inside this car, what's going on. We can't tell if we're dropping out spark, we're dropping out fuel pressure, and what's going on. So the nice thing here is, with dyno, with Eric, we can check all of these things on a rolling road, so this car isn't going down the road with us trying to figure this out. So what he's discovered is we have an issue with dropping out spark. So, which is interesting because this has a brand new flamethrower coil on it, has a brand new Cardone distributor in it, has brand new plug wire, or has brand new plugs in it. But it is what it is. So we will continue working. Cool, that was a long day. All right, so we started this process at 10:30 this morning, 10:45 this morning. It is now right before 4 o'clock. We've basically been hammering on this thing for the entire time.
Well, a couple of trips to Jegs.
Yeah, okay, so there were a couple of trips to Jegs for some more parts. Consequently, we have an entirely new, wonderful set of everything you could possibly need for Holley carburetors. And realistically speaking, we use basically absolutely everything in here. We've changed primary and secondary jets. We've changed secondary vacuum spring. We've changed power valve. We've changed accelerator pump many times.
Yes.
We've changed the accelerator cam. We've changed literally everything there is to be able to change on this setup has been changed. And realistically, the funny thing here is we're not battling for performance. We're not going for more numbers at a higher number. We did pick up power, absolutely. But what we're getting is we're adding drivability to this car. Originally, as you could see in the first videos, there was a really weird stumble in the acceleration when you would roll into the throttle real hard. It had a very odd stumble, and we've been battling fixing that all day long. Now, in the olden days, or in most shops, ourselves included, the only way to fix this and test this is to change something, get in the car, drive it down the road, see if it fixed it. If it didn't fix it, bring it back to the shop, try to figure out exactly why it didn't fix it, what's going on, and what to try next. Take it all apart, put it back together again, start it back up, take it back on the road, yada, 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 yada. So another reason this might be a good idea on going to fuel injection, because this is not nearly as much of a pain in the neck doing fuel injection. We plug in, we have telemetry, we tell the injector to fire more and when to fire more and at what throttle to fire more, and yeah. So anyway, Eric, have you had a good day?
I have.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
It's been a wonderful day. We've had a great time. And it's cold. Yeah, it's like 50 degrees outside. So we're going to make one more pull. We've also dialed in 2 degrees of extra timing. So it's running at 17 degrees of base timing, which is a little aggressive, but not terrible. We've also discovered that the camshaft on this thing is probably pretty much wiped out. She runs out of breath at like 4,500 RPMs. From what we've discovered on everything else we've worked on in this car, everything is 1973. So there's a very good chance the camshaft that's in this is the original camshaft from 1973, which is really, really old for a camshaft. So would it benefit from a camshaft? Yes. Would it benefit from heads? Yes. Are we going to do that? No. So we're going to let this thing cool down for just a second. We're going to fire it back up, make one last pull. I will film that for you guys, and you will see what this thing sounds like now and how well she does. So 5.5 hours of tuning later,
Roughly.
we learned a lot. We've discovered a lot with this thing. It was definitely, well, as you guys have seen, a lot more process than just bolt the carburetor and the intake manifold on, and
Yeah.
away we go. We made more power. Now, we did make more power.
Yeah. For sure.
As you and I were talking off camera, a lot of people are focused on the peak numbers. What they don't understand is the time underneath the curve.
Power under the curve. Yeah. That's what. I mean, how you're not wide open throttle.
Right.
You know, but like 5% of a car's life typically, unless it literally just lives at the racetrack.
Right. Right. So not only did we make more power, we ended up in 25 horsepower and 20 foot-pounds of torque more than we made before. We made basically all the way across the entire rev range more power.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. And the drivability is a huge thing as well.
Oh, for sure.
It's going to be a major difference, especially from when you guys started right after putting this carburetor on.
Right.
To where we came today.
Right.
So,
And what we don't have on camera here, and I'm going to not show you any of that, is the absolute pain that we've gone through getting this all set up. The problem with carburetor tuning is, A, it usually takes kind of a carburetor whisperer to kind of understand what's going on, but there's so many variables to what possibly could be causing your problem.
yeah.
You've got to kind of change one variable at a time to make progress.
Yep.
And that's where a lot of this comes in. And if you ever want to get a car tuned on a carburetor, CI Performance can do that. Eric's probably not going to appreciate it,
Doesn't matter to me.
as long as you're paying the bill. But just saying, there's a lot to this. There's a lot more to it than just an ECU car where you plug in and you can tell the computer to do what it needs to do,
Exactly.
and then it gives you telemetry back.
Exactly.
This entire time you and I have been working, we've been able to do all kinds of diagnostic based on
Yep.
all your readings.
And then there's all the time in between for just simple changes. The time having to run to jegs and get,
Right.
didn't have everything we needed to do it right.
Right.
From the get-go, things that weren't even expected.
Right.
So,
And we've changed out, I mean, almost everything we could possibly change out on this carburetor, short of rebuilding it itself.
I think the only thing we didn't change were main jets.
Yeah.
That was it.
Which actually technically probably need to
They
be
need to
changed.
change, actually.
But we're going to call it quits because we've made it where we need to be. So, again, Eric,
Yep.
I very much appreciate it, sir. There you go. Mama's Mopar is back in business. Hopefully Katrina will enjoy this thing. It is unfortunately middle of November here in Ohio, so racing season is basically over. Sorry about that.
Snow
But,
drags.
Yeah, it'll make at least one shot at the drag strip before the snow flies, hopefully, so we can see what kind of performance gain, the little bit of power we've gained, but also the huge amount of drivability we've gained is.
Yeah.
So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. It's been a long day for us, and it's been a good day for us. So we will see you next time. Make sure you click on the subscribe button, drop us a comment, and always hit that like button. We will see you guys soon.
Have a good one.